What's going on, everybody? It's the Reptiles Remixed Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Knack, Doug Knacker, Hissy Fit Reptiles coming at you here. And we have a very special guest here. We got Jaffy Exotics coming up here in just a little bit. I'm going to run down a few things here before we get into that. If you guys haven't already, be sure to check out Cold-Blooded Caffeine. They're not really a sponsor or anything, but got my Hissy Fit Blend coffee here. You got the Hissy Fit Blend ground. We also got whole beans. And then we got the Reptiles Remixed coffee here as well. So we have the Reptiles Remixed blend, whole bean or ground for those, as well as, again, you got the Hissy Fit blend, ground or whole bean. You can go to coldbloodedcaffeine.com and get your coffee ordered up there. And then you can use promo code HissyFit to get 10% off your order. Otherwise, you can follow the links that I usually leave in my YouTube videos, or if you go to my Instagram, I got some stuff on there with the links as well, and you'll get just follow that link and you should get the 10% off. So it'll automatically enter that Hissy Fit promo code. So be sure to check that out. It's a little something that I collaborated with them on, and they've collaborated with a handful of other people, Bob's Balls, Snake Discovery, handful of other really good, really cool people in the hobby and everything like that. And they support the environment and stuff like that from where like our reptiles come from and everything. So and then also when you buy from an affiliate like me or Bob's Balls or something like that, also they donate a little bit of it to USARK as well. So which also reminds me, don't forget about helping out USARK. If you got my USARK shirt here, USARK member, if you guys are USARK members, awesome. If not, if you for some reason don't want to be a member, you can still donate to them and stuff. One thing I usually do when I'm at like the Tinley show or go to those shows is bring an animal to donate. It helps out the cost and everything as well. Before we bring Jaffy on real quick, let's get into some of these people on the comments already. Here we got Kenneth Evans. What's going on? Should be a good one. Definitely should be a good one. Heads and Tails, what's going on? Welcome back to the show. We got Whisk Constrictors Reptiles. What's going on? And of course, it wouldn't be a podcast without Will's Hella Heat. So yeah, long time no see, Jaffy. So I was like, Will hasn't seen you in a while. So without further ado, we're going to get into this. We're going to bring Jaffy on, go over some stuff, see how things are going with him. And in case you weren't aware, yeah, he was at his first Tinley show over the last October. We'll kind of go through some stuff like that as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. These are the Reptiles Remixed. All right, Jaffy, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. It's been a little while, huh? A couple months now.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, how's everything?
Yeah, it's going good. Totally had a big fuck up. One of the biggest ones I've actually had since I started breeding ball pythons. The other day I did a live cutting, egg cutting. It was like supposed to be like a big proving out party to prove out my pastel Enchi Desert Ghost. Supposed to be Posset Clown and then Posset Hypo, right? And he was bred to my Pastave Clown, right?
Yeah.
And I was going to do a video. I haven't gotten around to actually making it yet because a few of them are still in the egg. But I was getting some really weird looking stuff. And then, so I was like, God, that looks spider or leopard. I'm like, how is that possible? Somebody's like, oh, maybe it's like het cryptic instead of het, clown.
I remember you saying that in the video. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So then in my mind, I got to the point, I'm like, oh, maybe it is het cryptic. That'd be awesome, And then I'm building myself up thinking, yeah, I bet this thing's het cryptic, and that's what happened here. I'm getting some cryptic looking stuff.
Yeah.
But as stuff started to kind of like peeking its way more out of the egg or actually coming out, I'm like, okay, no, that's a straight up spider combo right there. That's like, so I'm like, how the hell is that even possible? And I'm like racking my brain because I'm like, what? I mean, there's no way in hell I would put I have a leopard and she's spider, het lavender albino, right?
Oh.
And I put him in with my dreamsicle. Like that's all I was pairing him to was my dreamsicle because I wanted to get, not really for the spider part, but being he was a proven breeder, I wanted to basically make leopard enchi lavender albinos that'd be het pied, right?
Yeah.
So and she's like the only girl this year that hasn't won for me. So go figure.
Oh man.
But like, anyways, I'm like, but there's no way I'd put him in with that girl, you know. There's no way I'd put him in with a Pastave clown. I can't make anything worthwhile. Het clowns that are
heads or
het clowns that are past het lavender albino.
Yeah.
I'm like, so that'd be like the stupidest thing in the world. Like, so how did the hell did this happen? I'm like, I feel like I would have known if I put him in with, you know, put him in with her tub and stuff. And if I would have been even put in there with by accident, let's say.
Yeah.
I feel like when I opened her tub and saw him in there, I'd have been like, no, what is he doing in there? And that never happened. So like, I'm just like racking my brain, like this whole thing. Then it hit me. I'm like, oh shit, I know what happened. So this is the first time I've given an explanation on this thing since I've told like one or two other people, but so here's what happened. So okay, typically that girl, she lays for me like in like April or May. Usually that's like when she almost always lays. Before I had her, Ozzy had her, and that's when she laid for him too, April, May. Yeah. Well, this year she didn't lay until like September, end of September-ish.
Okay.
So so I'm like, okay, so what the hell happened? And then what occurred to me is when I was my daughter was doing these hockey camp things, and during the summer we were gone for like a whole entire week. When I got back, there was, I don't know if you ever had to deal with fungus flies or like fruit fly little things.
Yeah, little gnat flies or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I had like a shitload of them in my. So I was like, oh, son of a bitch. So what I did is I took all the snakes from these tubs, and I had the, you know, these bigger clear totes with lids that locking lids. Well, I didn't have one single tote for every single snake. So I put a handful of snakes in there. So I tried doing similar size snakes. So I wanted to do, so I had like the Pastave clown, the dreamsicle, that male. I think I had him in with those snakes.
He must have locked, you're saying.
He must have locked up with her that time in those tubs while I was deep cleaning everything. Because it was like a day, maybe, I can't remember if I let it air out. Because I did like the F10 cleaner, and I completely, because what I had read and everything was that those things will leave eggs behind and stuff. And really
I mean, like I've seen them before, not in my collection, but I've just seen them in general. They usually go away if you just clean it. Like that's what I've noticed. They don't really do nothing. It's just
they don't bother like the snakes technically, I guess, but it's still, it was gross as hell.
Nice to see,
and I'm like fuck this, you know. So
you left it in the bin overnight with them together.
So I'm trying to think, because I know I believe it was the next morning I put everything back in there, but I didn't see that he was locked up with her or anything. But he had to have locked up with her that one time. Now the funny thing is the Pastel Enchi Desert Ghost Passet Clown male, he had like 7 confirmed locks with that girl.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So the one time that boy goes in there,
yes,
and the time that you're not even thinking they're gonna breed.
So
out of the clutch.
Yeah. So public service warning for all of you out there: be careful if you put anything by each other. Well, see, the thing is, I didn't want to put males in with males in those tubs because I basically put them. I put, you know, because I didn't want them to fight or, you know.
Yeah, it makes sense for sure.
So I put like a male in, and I put similar size females, and that was the biggest male I had. So I know I put those ones, and I think one other female in with them. He must have got her.
Wow. And so funny enough, I was actually like gonna ask you if you've ever had a situation where a male's bred, but you don't know he bred until you got a clutch or whatever the case. Like you know, like you never witnessed a lock, but you didn't know if they bred, and then eventually you found out they actually did bred, but you never witnessed a lock.
Right. Yeah. So like I said, I didn't witness a lock, but that's the obvious. I mean, there's spider Mojave stuff in there. There's leopard there's leopard stuff. So like with the cryptic, you know, like a leopard enchi kind of looks like it could be cryptic-ish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and But yeah, nope, there's leopard, it's leopard entry stuff.
Oh man.
There's spider, and I have like there's like 3 or I think there's like 4 spider combos in there out of the 9 eggs.
Technically, you didn't even prove them out.
So I'll probably take them to the next show after once they shed and eat their meals. I'll probably take them to the next local show I vend and hopefully get rid of most of them. But
Yeah, are you able to test his shed?
yeah, I'll probably do that. Well, I have one more clutch that as long as I didn't do something stupid like that.
Yeah.
It's only 2 eggs that are left from that clutch. It was
Okay.
there was only a 4-egg clutch anyways, but 2 of
Oh,
them went bad pretty much right away.
yeah,
And so I have one nice egg and the other one's it's like a half boob egg. So snake's gonna be small.
yeah.
But really the only thing I'm really caring about is to see that it's either a clown or not clown. So if I can see a clown in either of those two, then I won't worry about sending a shed in. But otherwise, I'll probably try doing a shed test because I have like four or 5 girls I was planning on putting them with this next season.
Yeah. I think
And
me personally, I think it's worth just to test it just for now in terms of like for me, right? It cost what? I think I paid I think it was like $80 or no, I paid 100 and something Canadian, but that's
yep,
for clown and pied. So
yeah,
but like even if you did hit it or miss it, at least you know for sure you can still wait for the shed to come. Plus, I don't think they do hypo, but he is a possible hypo, right?
yep, possible head hypo. Yep,
Yes.
50% pos head hypo and 66% pos head clown.
Yeah.
So but so now for when you send your sheds in, then is there a Canadian? Or are you sending it to the U.S. to the
Yeah, so
one?
I got it sighted and then I sent it to my friends and then they sent it in.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so I was like, oh yeah, I have a handful of them. I was thinking about sending in. I have a leopard enchi, het lavender albino. He's possible yellow belly as well.
Okay.
And then he's also pos het clown and pos het pied.
Oh wow.
So if he were to prove out on all that,
The
that's one hell of a male.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Have you ever had even back in the days? Did you ever have 66% proof, or is it?
Yeah, I have actually had stuff that I didn't know was het,
Oh
even
wow.
proved to be het, but not after. But it was like after I had gotten. So you remember a little while when I was kind of out of it,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
kind of got out of the game for a little bit.
yeah.
Uh, so I had I had a lemon blast yellow belly visual desert ghost I got from Justin Kabelka, right?
Lemon blast, yellow belly, visual desert ghost.
Yep. Yep. So lemon blast yellow belly visual desert ghost. And I bought them for $750 at that point in time. That was what they were kind of going for.
I remember because it was you, Anthony from Granddaddy Herbs,
Yep.
and then who else? There was somebody else who was the only ones I remember that was really working DG.
Was it Levance maybe for Straight Fire? Or
I
he
didn't
didn't
know Levance at that time, but
he didn't post a lot of stuff though. He
yeah.
was kind of like under the radar,
You
but
guys remember we used to watch each other's YouTube, so I remember always watching your stuff. I even remember when Anthony produced like double head ultra, ultra DG clown. So that's what I remember for sure. You
yeah,
and then Anthony were the only ones that I knew of that was really working with DG or had that or seen the potential for that DG.
sure.
So I remember you did have one, but other than that, yeah. So he proved out to be pied.
Yeah, he actually proved it to be het pied. So the person I sold them to actually Exquisite Exotics
Okay.
bought they bought most of my Desert Ghost stuff.
Yeah.
Which man, I would be sitting pretty well right now if I still had all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that was like I got into Desert Ghost in like 2016, 2017.
Yeah, that's what I remember because I
And
remember you guys were like one of the first ones to really work with it.
yeah, and I Justin was working with it, but he wasn't. He had it under the radar until he like revealed a lot of stuff like in 2018ish or
Yeah,
whatever it was.
which
And
makes sense, Justin.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what Exquisite Exotics is that Daryl and Holly over there, they were like, oh, we're gonna try making some double hets. So they
Right.
bred that lemon blast yellow belly desert ghost to their pied stuff
Wow.
to make double hets. And then all of a sudden
Pop
clutch came out and there was pieds. There was lemon blast pieds, yellow belly pied stuff. So all their pied
crazy.
stuff was het DG, you know.
Wow. And the crazy thing about that is there's another a reptile keeper here. Her name is Nicole Lyon. She picked up a leopard. It was a leopard something DG. Not only did it prove out to be het pied, but it proved out to be het hypo also.
Oh, really?
And she also picked it up from Justin.
Gotcha.
So that animal could potentially be something around that time of when you picked it up. But I remember she ended up producing, I think it was like pieds with it or something like that, and then hypo or something like that. Pretty much she proved it out. And I know she hit the DG hypo pied, but I don't know if it was with that female.
Right.
So it's crazy.
It is.
Imagine, yeah.
Well, then the other thing is Reggie from Reggie's Urban Jungle. He bought so I had a pastel clown that was Het Desert Ghost.
Pastel clown, yeah.
That was a male, right? And then I had a female pastel Het Desert Ghost, 66% pos het clown. Yeah. And then she was also, I think, 50% pos het hypo. And he bought that girl from me. She proved out all three. So she was Het Desert Ghost, Het Clown, and Het Hypo. That male was also, not only was it a pastel clown, Het Desert Ghost, but he was also Het Hypo, and he proved out too. So he made hypo stuff, clown stuff. You know, I know he made it.
He made it was a pastel DG clown, right?
Yeah, yep. And then he said he's also made hypo stuff from that too. So
he picked that up from you?
Yeah, he got that from me. That
you produced them, or you?
I produced the one. Yeah, I produced those. Because I was working that stuff before it was big, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That
means you technically had DG pies in your collection and DG hypo clowns.
Yeah,
I
could have
pair them together, but that's crazy.
And I made those ones I made in like 2018. That was like a joint collaboration I did with Bill Meisner. We used his male with a het clown of mine. I had a het clown female. We used my female, and then his male was a pastel Enchi Desert Ghost. He's actually the father of the one I have right now.
Okay.
That male. But
so you think the hypo came from him, or the hypo came from
yeah, so that male, so at the time when we bred that male, all we knew he was a pastel clown, or a pastel Desert Ghost het clown, right? So he was 100% het clown. We didn't know he was also 100% het hypo. So when we bred it to my het clown, we made
sense.
Yeah, so when we did make the clowns, they were obviously het Desert Ghost.
Yeah.
But anything not visual desert, or anything not visual clown, was only 66% pos het clown.
Yeah.
And then because the het clown I had wasn't carrying hypo or anything, it was 50% het hypo.
Wow,
but we didn't know that until, like, we literally produced that clutch together, and it was kind of like a draft. Like, he picked a snake, I picked a snake, and all that.
Yeah.
So we basically did that, and then after we figured out what snakes, he's like, by the way, I just produced some stuff that looks hypo-ish, and he like messaged Kyle Hoffman and some other people, and he's like, yeah, they're all like, this is hypo for sure. So like, he proved up to be had hypo as well. Wow. And so then that's where, like, okay, so all these snakes are also 50% pos het hypo.
Okay.
And then Reggie, like I said, Reggie bought that pair from me, and yeah,
he smashed. I think he ended up making, like, I think it was hypo pie or hypo clowns or something like that. He made hypos, I think.
Yep.
He made a pastel DG clown. I think it was female, and then I think like some normals or you know, had possible double hats or whatever the case was.
Sure.
But that's crazy. That's crazy.
So I could have definitely been pretty far ahead of the game right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it. Even like when I got out, not really working with recessive. So I feel like at that time, eventually I would have got into recessives. But it is what it is. What it is. Now we're back in it, Doug. So now we can start smashing, producing crazy clutches. So
yep,
it's definitely it is what it is in a way.
Yeah. So how long were you out for total?
So I got out. It was 2014 or 2015. I think it was.
Okay.
2015. I think I produced. I did. So at that time, Blitz wasn't really known. So I picked up a Blitz male and I did 3 clutches. I made like a bunch of world's first, and then I just pretty much dropped out the hobby.
Sure.
So, and then I came back in it last year, which is what, 7 years or so ago, or 7 years of not doing it.
Since yeah.
Yeah.
So did you when you were out of it, did you like keep up with anything as far as like
Yeah.
watching like
Yeah.
stuff?
Everything. I was watching everything. Like, cause okay, I'll be honest. The reason why I got out at that time was, number one, I lived with my mom, right? So my
Sure.
mom wasn't a big fan of snakes. My mom's East African. So East Africans, and even just in general, Africans in general, and snakes, let alone just general, people don't like snakes. So she would be on my ass every single day. Oh, the snake. Because, like, once you have a rack, you can bring in as much as you want as long as it fills up that rack.
Right, right.
My mom would come in and be like, "What? There's another one in here. There's another one in here." So I'd be like, "Oh, I just wouldn't tell her." So
Right.
I'd start breeding and stuff like that. And then eventually she's like, she still complained, but it was whatever. And then right at the end, something happened with me in terms of a collection wise, in terms of like a friend of mine. Like, long story short, I was very brokenhearted in a way.
Sure.
So because of that, and then on top of that, my mom was on my ass. I was just like, okay, whatever. It just broke me down. Not like crying wise, just just everything about it. So I left
Right.
the hobby, and as soon as I sold everything, I regretted it.
Yeah.
And then,
Yep.
and then as soon as I sold it, my mom obviously wouldn't let me get another one again after that. Once I already got rid of them, I got rid of them.
Right.
So I had to just wait, and then eventually last year, right before I moved out, I said, "Yo, I'm gonna do this again." So I came back from school. I do a heavy equipment. I
Sure.
went to a training program 3.5 months. Came back, and then while I was there, I picked up a trio, a pastel enchi double head ultima pied, and then two females.
Okay.
And then ever since then, it's been game over. I just been going in, buying crazy shit, and you see what I
Yeah.
mean. This is so, yeah.
Right. Well, and with that whole thing too, like when I got out, um, I was just in a weird, I don't know, I was just going through a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, whatever.
Absolutely.
Um,
Same thing
s-
with me.
so like when I got out, I actually like was like I don't know. The thing is, it's like I burned myself out to the point where I didn't care. I don't want to say I didn't care. I
Yeah.
cared about the animals, obviously. Like I still
Yeah.
had some that I was taking care of and everything, but I wasn't like, oh, I stopped watching like any and all videos because I don't know.
I see what you're saying. It's one of those where you didn't want to watch it just to remember anything,
Yeah.
or to that. So you always had some, even though.
Yeah, so there's always been my other room, which was like a really shitty room. This room is way better. This is actually my one of my kids' rooms that now that he moved out, I'm like, all right, it's snake room now.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, as I have two boys have moved out already. And one of them, him and his girlfriend live together. He's got a job, he just turned 21 actually.
Oh wow.
And then my other son, he actually goes to UW Madison, down to the college there.
Oh
So he
wow.
just started his sophomore year.
Yeah.
But once he moved out of here, it's like, okay, well, we still have another bedroom on the other side of this wall. There's another bedroom. My one son is here every other weekend or so.
Yeah.
So
So you have
that's
three
like,
sons?
what's that?
You have three sons?
So 3 sons and 2 daughters. Yeah.
Oh wow. You
Yeah.
look
So,
super young.
hey, thanks, man.
Yeah.
40 now. I'm 40. I'm like,
Okay, that's what I figured. You're 30 or so. Yeah.
yeah. It's to the
Oh,
point though, now, like when there's been a few times where I've gone to buy alcohol, at the liquor store, and I'm like, "Oh, do you need to see my ID?" They're like, "Oh no, you're good." I'm like, "Oh shit."
no, sometimes they ask me some, even though I'm 27. Sometimes they ask, sometimes they don't. So it just depends on the person, but for sure,
Yeah.
no, you look young. Yeah.
Yep. Now, I usually people will say, "Oh, you look young. You look too young to have that many kids, or that too young to have a kid that age, or whatever." But then I'll get the ones like, "Oh no, yeah, that's about what you look. You look like you're about 40." I'm like, "Oh, all
Yeah.
right."
Yeah. I mean,
So, yeah, no,
yes.
what's that?
No, no, you go, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, with my one son though and then he's like I said, his room is over on the other side.
Mhm.
Um, because he's not there all the time though, like, you ever get those or see those arcade one up machines?
Which one?
Those
The
are like those like they like are like quarter or like I don't know 3/4 size of an
Oh
actual
yeah, yeah,
arcade.
yeah. Billy actually has one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, that's what we got. We have like one wall has got like the arcade things in there, and the one's here.
That's crazy,
So we got that stuff over in that room, and then this room is like all snake room stuff. So
it looks like a big room for what it is.
It's actually pretty good size. There's a huge walk-in closet, and once I kind of have everything more organized the way I want it, I'll probably do like a little room tour. But what I want to do is if I can maximize this room, eventually this desk is taking up a good kind of spot here in this room. So once I maximize this whole room in the next like 10 years, maybe it will be probably where there's a snake rack coming off of the corner of that, because I'll have that as an angle. I was going to go a little bit further, but yeah, I should be able to fit another one of those racks here, and then maybe another partial one. And then on that other side, there I should be able to fit another one of those. So I should be able to fit 3 of those 40s.
Okay.
And then have that 10, and there's the CB70 of the 10. So that would be like all my bigger girls that, 2,500 grams plus or whatever will go in there. And then I have another spot over there that will be, I can maybe fit like those little bit smaller racks that can fit, like, that are good for males or perfect for males or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that walk-in closet, I'd be able to fit like 3 or 4 of those big hatchling racks from Freedom Breeder in there.
Yeah. So what's your max you want, or what's your potential you want to do in terms of?
So potentially with all that, I should be able to fit, for adult breeders, I should be able to get to the point where I can have about 120 females.
Okay.
And then maybe figure on about like 30 to 40 males, maybe.
Yeah.
Around that.
Yeah, my max is probably, as of now, my max is probably 10 or so, and then within like my main thing is I want to get a house with my girlfriend. So as long as I can get a house, my max in general is probably 15 females, and then maybe 5 males.
Okay, and so then you're just basically, but you also get to work with Billy and his collection of stuff, so you kind of get to be around the snakes, like a lot of them on a regular basis.
So technically, I don't work there. What it is so Elias and Austin are like pretty much like, I consider them my brothers.
Sure.
And what it is last year I was technically going there a couple times a week.
Okay.
As I'm, because what I do is I'm construction, right? So if I'm not working, it gets boring to stay home.
Sure.
So it's a union list. So you go on the list, and then from there, as the list gets shorter, they choose people on the list, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in that time, I usually just go there, hang out, help them out here and there. So technically, I'm not an employee, but it's more like I can go whenever I want, in a sense.
Sure. So kind of like an accepted member there, but not really.
In a sense, yeah. But last year, I was going 2 times a week.
Gotcha.
After I went to school, I stopped. I didn't go as much, and then obviously because I was in school, I wasn't even in my house. I was living in school. So then when I came back, I went back to 2 days a week, and then as of this year, when I started breeding, is when I started kind of like, not really going as much, but I still go there sometimes, just to hang out.
Sure.
Barbecue on a Friday, stuff like that.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because I know I've seen like pictures where it looks like you're working there and stuff like that, cleaning tubs and whatever else.
Yeah, at that time I technically was, but as of now, it's not really. It's just for me. I go there, I talk to my friends, hang out. I do help out. It's not like I go there and do nothing, but technically I'm not working there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha. How far or how long does it take you to get there from where your place is?
Maybe 30, not even like 30 minutes.
Oh, okay, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, that's why for me I view it as, I just go there, hang out.
Yeah,
working in terms of physically doing stuff, it doesn't it's not a big deal to me, because I'm just talking. We just talk random stuff. So
sure. Well, that's like Garrick DeMeyer only live his shop, so he doesn't live like at his shop, but so he's got his shop at a separate location, and it takes me about the same amount of time to get to his house or his shop, depending on where I need to go or whatever. But usually I'll meet him over at his shop, or he'll help me out with some stuff or whatever. Or
he's a cool guy too. I haven't met him in terms of like really talk to him, but he seems like he's a real cool guy.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to go like to his booth at Tinley when you were there?
We did, but because Tinley's super busy, so I didn't really want to talk to him for too long. But other than that, he seems like he's a real cool guy.
Yeah, but
Very humble kind of guy.
Yep. Yeah, he's yeah, very humble, and then also, he'll never give you shit advice,
Yeah,
the advice that he gives you will always be genuine.
for sure.
That's the one thing. It's like, one of those guys is like he'll tell you whatever he feels is right to get you ahead of the game or to where you want to be and stuff like that. So
And the crazy part is, Doug, is I was telling people like the game wasn't like this 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Remember? Back
yeah,
then it was super cutthroat.
very cutthroat. Yeah.
It was talking shit about everyone. People didn't want to see you succeed. So the way I always tell people is the hobby did a whole 360 in a positive way because now you got OGs in the game helping you. I'm sure they were helping you at the time, but I'm talking about just a general sense. Everybody wasn't like that as if they are today.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a real nice way of coming back in.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's actually like the hobby kind of like, it like evolves and then it like de-evolves or whatever, and then it
Yeah,
evolves again, and then it's like so it kind of goes through waves, I feel definitely like,
yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
like right now you're seeing people sell like same thing kind of happened like a handful of years ago. Mine was a little bit different situation. It wasn't because I like
Yeah, yeah,
spent a ton of money to get into it and then like had it just couldn't afford it and got
yeah,
out or whatever.
yeah,
But there's like a lot of people that were like, "Oh, I'm gonna dump all this money in because I want to make a ton of money," and then all of a sudden it wasn't panning out the way they thought. So then they got out because they weren't making it. And so
yeah,
now it's like
yeah,
people got all in the States anyways, people got all the stimulus money,
yeah.
you know. So now you're seeing, everybody's kind of saying all the stimulus breeders are getting out now. So
Yeah. Are you seeing a lot of people get out the hobby or it's like a couple?
yeah. Yeah, I so I haven't seen a lot of people getting out. I've heard people say stuff, or I have seen like a few people say, "Hey, due to some whatever circumstances, we're selling our collection.
Yeah,
Message me for prices or whatever." But some of those aren't really like the stimulus breeders or whatever, the people who
yeah,
spent money just in the stimulus. Um, you know, some people just legitimately have something that happens or whatever, and it just y- you know I always just because I went through my own thing,
yeah.
I always
Give them
respect
benefit of the
anybody.
doubt.
What's that?
You're saying you give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you don't know what they're really going through. I mean, a lot of people didn't know what I was going through, and I was over here talking shit about basically my family, at one point in time, saying that I remember specifically having conversations with people, and they're like, "Oh, like uh, I would literally say to them, if I had to pick between like my wife and my snakes, I'd pick the snakes, or whatever."
Yeah.
Like it was that bad. I was that obsessed. I guess that's probably the word
I
for it.
see what you're saying. Yeah.
And it was just
You
like I
broke
didn't.
it down in a video and I remember that now.
Yeah, and I went through and there might be a few videos still up there that I might have missed, but like I went through a lot of those videos and I was like disgusted with myself. I'm like, God, I can't believe I even said that shit. I'm like, I'm deleting that video, deleting that video, deleting that video.
So you're saying
I was
in
like,
a sense the hobby kind of took over you.
yeah. I let it basically take over me. It was my own. It's all 100% on me. I mean, I take full responsibility in my actions. I could sit here and blame this, blame that, and everything else.
I mean, the main step is you accepted it in terms of you were wrong. Like the way I view it is like how can I like for example, right back in the day, in general, right? Any hobby is for what? For your enjoyment. So
Right,
when you enjoy something so much and you're invested in so much, I can see it taking over someone's, whole life.
right.
What up, Keisha? Shout outs to Keisha. And I
Yeah,
can see it taking over someone's life to where, an example, like the way it happened to you, is even like now, right? Like there's so many people trying to jump in it for the wrong reasons.
right,
So when you're jumping in it for that exact reason and it doesn't go the way you want to go or the way you want it to go, is where obviously you say, I don't want to do this no more. What up,
right.
Patrick? That's the number one MVP of YouTube right here.
Yeah.
Patrick,
Yeah, Patrick's man, he's been an awesome supporter for
oh,
sure.
yeah, he's a number one.
Actually, all these guys on here, super. I mean, going back, I don't even know how far back. I've seen these guys, commenting on my stuff for a long ass time. Always been, great supporters and stuff like that. Just really, really cool. So
yeah,
it's good to see those guys.
for sure.
It's always really cool to see him in person, like, at Tinley and stuff. It's kind of like going into that whole subject and stuff. How many you probably ran into like a shit ton of people at Tinley that you were just like, heck yeah, it's awesome meeting you in person,
Oh
kind of,
yeah.
right?
Even some people, I was even surprised. I was like, little old me. And people like, oh, can I get a picture with you? I'm like, what? Like, who am I? Like, you know?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I've had a few people say that, and I'll wear my Hissy Fit Reptile shirt,
Yeah,
like, because then that way people have, like I'll, you know, I like to wear the US Arc shirt too, or
for
like
sure,
I'll
for
wear
sure.
somebody else's shirt and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I
it's like,
just
oh,
wear regular clothes, and then I think it's because I'm big, right? So like, it's easy to like. A couple people even told me they didn't even think I was this big, and I was like, what? Like, some guy told me he thought I was like 5'4" or 5'5".
oh,
I'm like, what made you think I'm that small? Like, it is what it is. But I was like,
right.
but
That's
it
fun.
was amazing that Tinley. I got to finally meet you after
Yep.
it's like 10 years. I feel like, and
Yeah,
then
it's been
I got to meet. I wish I could have met Anthony and Lenny, but it's okay. We'll definitely meet up one day. And then yeah, a bunch of people. I got
yep.
to meet Keisha. Shout outs to Keisha Splash Park. I got to meet a whole bunch of people. Whole bunch of people.
Yeah, it's really awesome. In general, like Tinley Park is it's a really great show to see a lot of really awesome stuff, but almost
Yeah.
more so than the animals there. It's I don't know, the environment and the people.
Yep.
I almost like going there just to shoot the shit with everybody as
Yeah.
much as I do seeing the animals.
Sure. For sure. Yeah. It's the same. Like you don't get to see a lot of these people all the time. So the fact that you can see them, especially, is because we enjoy the same hobby. So
Right.
it's like the convo can never stop.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? So it's nice. It's nice. I enjoyed it. I'm definitely trying to go next season, or not next season, but next year.
Are you gonna go you gonna go to the March show at all, or just gonna go to like the October
Uh,
one?
I was debating that, but I don't think the March one. I'd rather go. I mean, who knows? I don't think I would, unless my girlfriend was down to go, and then we explored Chicago as a whole, and
Sure.
then we went to Tinley. Then maybe, but if I did have to go, I'd rather save up money for the October one.
Yeah. Yep.
At least the October one, if I bought something, I can ship it out to like a couple weeks later. So
Sure.
this is the March one.
It's kind of like a rotation thing with the way that the March and the October ones work, because
Yeah,
like people, well, there's usually more animals in October because everybody's had the whole summer
yeah,
to make all these animals,
and they
and then
kept the pictures.
yeah, so like the amount of animals and stuff might be a little bit less in the March, but
Yeah,
that's when everybody has the money from taxes and stuff,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That's true.
it's like more money, less animals
And on
later
top of
on.
that, they're selling their own stuff to have money for Tinley.
Right.
So yeah. No. You plan to go?
Yep, I do plan on going on in March. So because I do my DJ stuff,
Yeah,
I always have to look in advance to make sure I don't book those weekends.
yeah,
Otherwise, like last year in 2021, because I didn't initially plan in 2020, I didn't plan on getting back into everything yet, at
yeah,
least not really at full force. So
yeah,
in 2020, I had already booked my weekends for weddings, both Tinley weekends, so Tinley in March and then also Tinley in October.
yeah,
And so then when it came time, it's like, oh, I had to, do the wedding stuff that I had already booked with my DJ service. Obviously, I don't want to
yeah,
get a bad reputation of not showing up or whatever.
yeah,
So
yeah,
so then it's like, okay, now that I know I'm back into it, because 2020 was kind of like, hey, I'm gonna get back started. Like the thoughts kind of of getting back in were already kind of starting, and then I had already had some of my, like I said, some of my animals I never even got rid of, so I
hmm
still had some, and then I had a guy, a friend of mine that lives relatively close, about an hour away.
hmm
Um, on good faith and everything, I did kind of a breeder loan to him. So he took a handful of my animals and he was able to breed them to whatever, and try to, kind of up his collection a little bit. But then
yeah,
knowing that when I did decide to get back into it, those animals were still mine and I get them back.
Up his
yeah,
So that kind of worked out in my favor. That's like the past Ave clown. That one year, she was over at his place because we had kind of a thing worked out where he was able to breed her for that year with his stuff, which I think he made some Jungle Woma clown stuff.
Okay, that's cool.
So I don't know. Have you messed with like the Jungle Woma gene? I know
I've seen it, but I don't know too much about it.
So it's not like a hidden gene Woma or a regular Woma. It's got its own thing. The super form is called a puzzle back, which makes it even more confusing because there's puzzles out there, But this thing's called a puzzle back, and it's pretty cool. It makes some pretty neat combos. Kind of like an untapped, thing, I guess. So out of the genes. So let me see here. I got Will's Hella. He's got a question here. So do they search vehicles going back into Canada if you drove out? Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a good question. So like, let's say you were to buy like snakes and stuff at like, came to the States and Tinley and drove back to Canada. Do they check that kind of stuff?
So I'll say it like this, right? So to import ball pythons, period, you need to have CITES. But when you, like for example, right, when me and Austin, we were driving at the border patrol was pretty, the basic questions, what are you doing pretty much? What are you doing in America? I told him we're going to Tinley, just to say Tinley. And then Austin told him we're going to a snake show. And I'm like, no, why would we do that? So we don't have, we have nothing. But the fact is, then he's going to be like, do you have anything in the car? And then we're like, no, we have nothing. Like, we actually have nothing. So
right.
Then, okay, so he took our passport, walked inside, wherever the office, because we went through a port where it's very small, one border agent. It's not even like, the Detroit one, there's like lines of them.
Yep.
So we went to one where it's just one border patrol. So we went to him, we told him, he came back out, and then he said we can go through. So technically, he didn't search up nothing. But we think, like, because we told him snake, he must have told, maybe, who knows what the case was. So then we went to Tinley, enjoyed whatever, and then we came back. And then when we came back, we went through the same port, but it was obviously the Canadian side.
Sure.
And she said, oh, what did you guys do? We told her we went to a reptile expo, whatever the case was. And then she said, did you guys bring anything back? And we're like, no. So she took her flashlight and she, flashed it in the back seat to see anything. Funny enough, I had an FB20 tub in the back. So I'm thinking like, holy shit, she might see the FB20 tub. But then I'm like, nah, she probably wouldn't even know what the hell that is.
Right.
Just flashed it. And then she flashed it in the back, and then she said, you guys can go. So I was thinking, like, technically, we could have had a whole crazy collection in the car. She would have never known, but I'm like, there's no point to risk it. Like,
right, yeah, because it could have went the opposite way, right? Where all of a sudden she's like, okay.
It or whatever the case is. And I had a friend who told me one time he picked up some ball pythons from America from a show, and then he told me something happened, but they ended up driving it over. And apparently they found it, but they let him go through. And I'm like, what? How does that make sense? So I was like, it is what it is. But, who knows if the outcome would have been the same for me and Austin. But I just said it's not even worth it. Like, I'd rather not do that.
Right. Yeah, no, like you said, it could have been totally opposite where they like scoped everything out and as you get out and open this up, open that up.
Yeah. It's even if we have nothing crazy, it's still like it's embarrassing to have that happen to you.
Right.
So I just said, yeah, forget that shit. Like, I'm not trying to do that. But people do it. I know there's people who do it. Like, I don't know people who do it, but I remember someone telling me, like, there's people who still do it.
Sure.
That makes right. It's just a cheat code because you don't have to pay CITES work. You just go to. They were telling me they get it shipped to a hub, and then they drive over the border, pick it up from the hub, and then drive it back. Genius, but
still very risky though because So
I just said, yeah, forget that. But yeah, it's that's how it works pretty much.
Sure. Yeah. Here I didn't. There's this one here, and then also Will had also mentioned Mario and Jungle Woma the same.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to you, Jungle Woma. From what I'm hearing, Mario and Jungle Woma is the same.
Okay.
Yeah, or allegedly the same.
Sure. And so I've seen some of the Mario stuff. I guess I didn't even put two and two together, even thinking that they were even possibly the same. Obviously, you can come up with a lot cooler names with Mario and stuff, especially,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna make like the Chris Pratt ball now that he's gonna be the Mario voice, right, for the movie.
This is the single gene jungle warmer clown?
Yeah, I think that might be it. Is that
That
this?
looks
That's
pretty
a
cool.
single gene version.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it kind of does some funky
Funny
stuff.
enough, it's from Justin's website.
Yeah, the one thing that would be kind of a pain is like if you stick Blade in there, because like Blade clowns or Leopard clown stuff kind of reduces it. So
Yeah,
if you have those in there along with Jungle Woma, I can see that being kind of maybe like a little confusing as far as being able to tell the genetics in it, maybe.
yeah.
But that's something I'd have to look a little bit more into. I know, in general, I have I have a banana Jungle Woma het clown male,
Mhm.
and he is freaking just. I have one of the best looking bananas I've ever. Actually, shit, I'll grab him out real quick because I just show
Yeah,
it. This looks
yeah,
pretty awesome.
for sure, yeah. Yeah, I don't really know too much about Jungle Woma stuff. It looks cool, but I wasn't too familiar. I thought it
This
looked
right here. So
yeah,
this is just a banana Jungle Woma.
yeah, he's reduced.
My camera here. There we go. So he's got
Yeah,
a pretty funky pattern
yeah.
and
It
just
almost looks like
super clean,
Hostile Ritual kind of thing.
So
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, of course he's all balled up and everything, but
Yeah, ball python.
yeah, pretty neat looking. We'll put him back.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, that was kind of a. I had gotten into that just about right before I kind of got out of everything. I had just gotten into some of the Jungle Woma stuff, but
Yeah,
let me see here. What was I gonna? Here we are. Yeah, and of course, amazing community. Love this
yeah.
community, just in general. For the most part, like when you got out, I was gonna ask you before this part
Yeah.
of it. But when you got out, did you get people like saying, "Oh man, you gotta like, why are you getting out? Stay in and all that kind of stuff," or was it pretty?
I don't remember because at that time I wasn't too. How can I explain it? Like I wasn't really super cool with a lot of people, so I did have a couple people I was talking to.
Sure,
But from what I remember, I don't think anybody really. Maybe they did, but I just don't remember it. But
sure,
one thing I do remember is when I left, a lot of people who weren't even into the ball python, just my friends or just people I know, they always ask me. First thing they say is, "Oh, what's up, Jaffy? Blah blah blah. Do you still have those snakes? Do you still have
sure.
those snakes?" So it almost seemed like the people who weren't in ball pythons were the ones who were more concerned that if I had them or not. But other than that, it's definitely as soon as I got out of them, I regretted it right away. It is what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. I had gotten some people's, were like, "Oh no, don't do this," and whatever, and then they're like, "You're gonna regret it," which
I
I did regret it a
yeah,
little bit.
did too. Yeah.
I regretted some of the ones I sold. Like I wish I wouldn't have sold certain ones.
That DG
Um,
stuff you had, they were breeding
yeah,
stuff too, yeah.
the DG stuff for sure.
Yeah.
There's actually there's one snake that I sold that I'm actually gonna be getting back, which is awesome.
That's
So so one of the snakes I'd gotten was a high intensity super orange dream fire spider female from Ozzy.
oh wow.
So back in like 2012, he produced it, and at the time, he was just calling it a super orange dream spider fire yellow belly.
Mhm.
Um, and that thing was just smoking. It was like a jet yellow, like a super vibrant yellow, and then the black markings from like the spider
Yeah,
influence and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, damn, that thing is awesome. Well, he ended up selling it. He ended up figuring that it wasn't yellow belly though. He thought initially it was, but
super high.
it was when he found out that he had the high intensity orange
Oh,
dream
I see.
as part of it. So because it was a super, it was one dose of the high intensity and then one dose of the regular orange dream.
Yeah.
And so I had bought that and then I sold it. And I told the guy, I said, "Hey, if you ever like are done using her or whatever," I said, I eventually want to get back into it, or I plan on getting back into it eventually. If you ever decide to get rid of her, if you could let me know first, I'd be considering it, maybe getting her back.
Yeah.
And then a few months ago, he messaged me and it's like, hey, I was wondering if you'd still be interested in getting that girl back. I actually made what I wanted to make with her, and I was gonna let her go otherwise. I'm like, heck yeah, So even though,
how much was she like when she was a hatchling?
As a hatchling, I'm not sure because Ozzy had raised her up as an adult. She was one of his main breeders or whatever. So that was one of the ones that was making like some of his first, high intensity combos that he was making. And so that she was like one of the OGs as far as that goes. And like she was born in 2012. So yeah, so she's about 10 years old. And but I figure there's still a good amount of life to her, and make some cool stuff. Even though she's not het for anything, she's not like recessive anything. Just the fact that she was one of the ones, like that was one of the ones that I always saw, and I was like, it would just be awesome to have that snake specifically.
Yeah.
Even though I could probably go on MorphMarket and find the same exact combo.
Head pied.
Yeah, plus all that. Just that one is kind of had a little bit more meaning, and all that stuff. So
yeah.
But yeah, so that's one of the ones I'm kind of looking forward to getting back. The Desert Ghost stuff, most of that stuff I'll probably have a no chance in hell to get back, because the people that got those are probably not going to let those go anytime soon. So
I had pie too, so now that's a different ticket price.
Yeah, exactly. A lot more than $750 for that thing now.
It's crazy the way. So back in the day, I didn't even remember people working with DG until later on. Was 2016, 17, 18, people started kind of picking it up. But before that, I don't even remember. But I remember people telling me like DG around that time was like $500, even less.
Okay.
And just now it's skyrocketed. Like now I think a DG is like 1,000 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, so when I bought mine from Levance back in 2016, so I got a Desert Ghost female for $500, and she was like 400 or 500 grams.
Wow.
And then I got the Super Pastel Desert Ghost for like, I think it was 1,500.
Wow.
And she was like 500 or 600 grams. Like when I got them from him. So now at that size, I mean, forget about those prices,
No, it's crazy. As soon as that DG comp popped out, everything went crazy for them.
Yep. Well, when I got into Desert Ghost, and I would tell people that, I got this Desert Ghost, and then people would call me stupid for even bothering with those because they can't lay eggs.
Yeah.
Like people still thought at that point in time that it was desert, and the desert gene.
That's crazy.
The female, they're like, I could see you getting a male, but why the hell would you get a female? Like they can't lay eggs. It's like, they have to, because it's recessive. So in order,
it's the main reason why people didn't work with it, because they thought it was the same, even though it had not a complete different name, but a not so similar different name. Not a similar name, but other than that desert part.
Right.
They just
Now, are you seeing, like, speaking of Desert Ghost stuff, are you seeing a lot of Desert Ghost stuff like in Canada, or is it mostly still like name the enhancer stuff that you've seen a lot?
We do. There is Desert Ghost here, of course, but you do have a good amount of enhancer. Sure. And then you also have enhancer / Desert Ghost.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I know that was kind of a controversy thing for a little bit too. People were like, "Oh no, enhancer is different and it's better." And some people are like, "Oh no, Desert Ghost is different and it's better." And a lot of people, and then there's people who say, "Yeah, it's the same thing. Basically, you can breed them together and
technically speaking, it's the same. It's like black pastel cinnamon, right? Like they're both technically the same, but they have, one was found, let's say in Ghana, one was found in Benin,
right,
with a different bloodline.
Yep.
So enhancer and DG is, in theory, the same. It does the same thing to some degree, but what I've noticed is for DG, when it gets older, right, the pattern becomes more bright. Like it becomes brighter, obviously, right?
Yeah.
The blacks stay rich.
Yep.
This enhancer, the color is the color pops, but then where the black would be, it starts to develop like a blushing.
Sure. Like
So
not quite hypo, but
not
like
hypo to some degree, like what hypo can kind of do.
right. But just
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah. So it kind of does the same in terms of brighten up the gene, but in terms of the color palette, it's a little bit different.
sure.
Yeah. But
Yeah, that makes sense and
yeah,
stuff.
me, I don't know if I'm biased, but enhancer is definitely better.
Yeah.
From
So
what
and I've seen people say that they're like, oh no, hey, enhancer is definitely better. And I've heard seen people say no, Desert Ghost is definitely better.
yeah,
You're like they're the same exact combo basically with, it'll be like, pastel enchy or super pastel or something of both of them. And then you got a picture and it's all subjective too, like
for sure.
there's like at one point in time I hated chocolate. I thought chocolate was like this horrible gene because
Yeah.
it just made everything dirty looking. It's like, why does everybody want a dirty snake? But then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, now it's like I'm like I gotta get chocolate because there's some awesome stuff.
Chocolate pastel DG hypo looks crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's some really cool stuff out there for sure.
Sure.
Is there a gene out there that you don't have that you really want to tap into?
Oh, there's a bunch. So one gene I've been obsessed for the past like 2 days is lace.
No lace, yeah.
Oh man, like the thing was with lace is I called it from the beginning, like not beginning, but when I first seen a white lace, I think I seen a pastel white lace yellow belly. I seen that female and I'm like, whoa, this female was 1,000, 1,200 grams. And I'm thinking like, holy shit, this thing is crazy. I can only imagine if this was in clown.
Right.
And then later down the line, Justin pops out a white lace clown, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then I'm like, by then, obviously the price skyrockets. So I'm like, yeah, I'm already too late.
Yep.
So lace / white lace clown, of course, is something I really like. Redhead is another one. I wish I just bought it.
Yep.
Redhead. So last season I had a chance to pick up a redhead het clown female.
Right.
That someone told me, oh no, redhead wasn't that good, whatever the case is. So I said, okay, whatever. So I ended up picking up something different. And then now that person said they want redhead. So I'm like, oh shit, like, it is what it is. But redhead is another one I love. What's another gene? I'm not too big into the DG clone. Like I love it, but I wouldn't mind playing with a little, 1.2 just to play around with it.
Yeah.
And because I have no DG in my collection, I'm ultra heavy. So for me, it's just it doesn't make sense for me to have this project, then this project, then this project, because I like to keep it really small.
Right. Well, and you were saying too that your rack spacing right now isn't really, where it's gonna allow for a ton of different animals. So you kind of get the genes you want kind of compressed into those animals you do have, right?
Exactly. Like I have adult bins, I have 20. That's it.
Sure.
And it's not all fill, but obviously as you produce and you just recycle them, you move out the good one, the older ones, you put the newer ones. So I'm gonna work with that 20 slot. But if I work with DG, then I'm gonna need another rack for the DG stuff.
Right.
And yeah, so redhead for sure. The other one lace I want, and then DG's kind of like just to play around with if I do end up having space for it. But other than that, there's nothing, maybe here and there, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you I know like up in Canada there's like one of the big ones that's up there that you see more of in Canada. It's starting to see more of it in the States as well, but especially there's more of it available in Canada, I would say.
Yeah.
Is the Marcus Jane line of the Xanthic,
Yep, the best line in my opinion.
Yep.
I actually have a 1.1 pied double het MJ Xanthic Lavender Albino.
Okay, nice.
So that's one of those projects where I bought it and I just said, okay, you know what? Let me just play with it. I don't need a 1.3, 1.2. So I just got a pied double het, breed them together. Hopefully I get a nice size clutch, and then hopefully I hit MJ, I hit lightnings, I hit dreams, and then I hit the lightning, or I want to call it the avalanche pied.
Right.
So
nice. That's pretty awesome.
It's a cool little project I got.
So so for Axanthic over here, obviously, like, you know, VPI and the SK line are like huge. Everybody's got those. They're one of those two. Or it's like the ones everybody's kind of working with.
Yeah.
I went a completely different route on mine. I don't know if you saw the one I had picked up an Axanthic Pied girl, and the line I got is the GCR line.
Yep. Yep.
And that thing is popping. It's like 650, 700 grams.
They're speculating it to be the same as the MJ.
Yeah. So when I talked to the guy who from Gateway City or I can't remember. City. Yeah, GCR, Gateway City Reptiles or Gate City Reptiles, whatever. I'm totally blanking on that. So if he's listening, I apologize. But he got his stock from the same stock that Marcus Jane got their stock from. So it's not necessarily guaranteeing it's the same.
It's just probability.
Yeah, good probability. I know they were talking about they had gotten a hold of an MJ line. Once they just got to get them raised up and lock in and hopefully produce a clutch or two or whatever to see if they are for sure compatible. Because if they are compatible, it's almost a given that they are, just because of the way Axanthic works with each other. You know, you can't take one line and then work it into another and it works out or anything, you know?
Yeah. In terms of saying not all lines are compatible.
Yeah, so you can't take an SK line, breed it to a VPI line, and get Axanthics.
I heard they're not compatible. Like, I think MJ is the only one. Or no, they're all not compatible with each other. But the crazy part too is VPI Pied is technically less than MJ Pied.
Right.
The value.
Yep. So and that's the thing too. I kind of the GCR line of Axanthic and with Pied is also less because it can't be called a lightning Pied because Marcus Jane line, you know, there's really coined that, and that's so, like, you know, if it proves out to be the same thing eventually, I could probably technically call it that, but out of respect, I don't know if I probably just won't, you know, but I mean, that girl is smoking out. When I do I'll be getting ready to do my collection like update video here soon, so I'll be showcasing her in that, so everybody can kind of see how it's like when I open her tub, it's just like
silver.
It's like silverish still, you know. There's like maybe a few kind of like slight areas in here where it's like maybe slightly coloring up a little bit.
Yeah.
But nothing at all like you'll see like VPI and SK line like Axanthics that once they're adults, it's like it almost looks like a normal or a pastel or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I've seen so Billy got I think he's got a breeder male MJ Axanthic or something like that, or Austin has one. It's nice. It's nice. It definitely holds that gray kind of color.
Yeah.
Versus I'm not saying other lines are, you know, they're not good, but for me, I like the VPI. The VPI. I'm reading the comment.
Oh, yeah. Damn it, Will. No. No, that'd be my fault for putting it up there. Yeah, no, so the Marcus Jane one you're talking about?
Marcus Jane is to me the nicest one. It holds that color. A friend of mine here produced an MJ Lightning Pied. I think it was an OD Lightning Pied or MJ Lightning Pied or Enchi Lightning Pied. It's nice. It's nice. I enjoy it. That's why I'm hoping. I've seen VPI Snow Pies and they look cool, but I'm hoping with the MJ line, it looks like, you know, more saturated, more pattern. Because, you know, with the Snows, they get better with age. Once they come out the egg, they almost look like a bell.
Right.
So you just gotta wait to see a couple more sheds on top, and then from there they get colored up.
Yep. Yeah. Now, Will's asking here, who is it, VPI or TSK, that has a dark line that is similar to IMG and BOA?
I'm not too sure.
I'm not sure on that neither.
Black Axanthic you meant?
There is that black Axanthic line. Yeah. I know Justin a long time ago. I remember seeing stuff on his website for that.
Yeah, I remember too.
But I really haven't heard a lot of people doing anything with black Axanthic though. It would be cool that the IMG stuff in BOAs is awesome.
Yeah, that's a nice one. I don't think it works the same for ball pythons, but it's definitely a cool pattern. I think Brock Wagner popped out something that he was saying that could be an IMG.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a leopard IMG he thought he made.
So he says here, not black xanthic. His one gets darker and darker like IMG.
Okay, then I don't know.
Thanks, Brad. I definitely have to look into that one because I know like like obviously like if you remember the Stormtrooper, that thing came out. That thing is like really dark now. Like it like a lot of the white, like how there was like the black outlines and it had like the white, and like the black started to take over the white kind of and make it look like even darker. So I don't know if that would maybe be that line, the TSK line with that.
Yeah, I know there's what TSK, there's Joliffe, I think there is.
Yeah, there's Joliffe.
Lindsay, and then there's MJ, and then there's VPI.
Gotcha.
And then I guess gateway or gate, something like that.
Yeah, so Jolliffe, I remember like getting in when I first got into ball pythons and the Jolliffe line. I remember seeing people working with that. I always thought it was like the worst possible line of xanthic you could get.
Yeah.
Stuff was almost born brown already. It was not like it wasn't silverish.
Because xanthics, when they get older, technically they start to brown out too.
Yeah.
Like Billy has, I think it's a VPI, I think it was, or TSK, and it all like I'm not saying it looks like a normal, but it's you said it almost looks like a normal. It's like what's the difference? That's why the MJ is the best to me because you can visually see it and like okay, this is obviously not a normal.
Right.
Xanthic as a whole, I'm not a huge fan of. You're just like I don't want to remove color. I want to add color.
Right.
At least DG makes colors pop.
Right.
Versus Xanthic is like albino in a way.
Right. Although like Ozzy made some of those really awesome Xanthic Desert Ghost things, man, those
they're cool.
Those pop pretty hard, and you'll get like see that's the thing, you can literally get like if you were to do like a Desert Ghost, a Xanthic Clown Pied, I mean that thing would look probably pretty wicked. You know what I mean?
That would be crazy. I know someone hit. I don't know if you've seen it, Xanthic Clown Pied.
Yeah, actually, was that also Ozzy or was that somebody else?
Someone else.
I remember seeing pictures on Instagram though. I was like, yeah, that stuff is awesome. It's in general, I remember it used to be where people would be kind of like criticized if you would put too many genes together, because then you started getting like white looking snakes, and it's like, okay, if you're taking all the pattern and color out of it, what's the point of stacking all those genes? Now people are finding the right combos of all that gene stacking, throwing 6-7 genes in there, and it still looks awesome,
Even recessives, like back in the day, you remember, like people used to add 4 or 5 codons, and like for example, I remember Nerd, for example, they used to make some crazy stuff. They didn't even know what it was.
Right. So do you remember watching Raffy's?
100%.
Yeah, his videos that he did with Nerd.
Crazy.
Yeah, I have them saved my computer.
Did he delete them off his YouTube?
He did at one point, and I think they're back on again. Actually, I think it's funny because like some of those combos I haven't seen since those videos. Like those were back in like 2012.
Soul Sucker. You remember Soul Sucker?
Yeah, well,
that's dropped, and everyone was losing their shit.
So I made the first Desert Ghost Soul Sucker.
Yeah, I remember.
That's the one I called the Soul Asylum, and so then I sold the the Soul Asylum I called it. I sold that to Exquisite Exotics along with that Super Pastel Desert Ghost, and he bred them together and he made a pastel Soul Sucker Desert Ghost.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just there's some pretty serious stuff out there. There's stuff out there that I don't understand or that I can't really wrap my head around as far as like what I'm seeing. Like it looks awesome in the combos, but then I start to see like simpler combos or single gene of it.
Red Stripe.
Well, like Red Stripe, yeah. Like with what Kevin was working with, like how the hell was it? There was
Kevin.
What's that?
Malum.
Malum was one of them. Yep, Malum, and then
I could have sworn Malum was just an Enchi.
Is that what you think it was?
I thought it was because the combos he was showing, I'm like, well, what does it look like? And then I remember Austin, Billy has something like that. Billy had a Malum or something, and it almost looked like because Austin called it a malum pied, and I'm like,
Sure.
that shit looks like an enchi pie. Like, what does it look like? You know, it is what it is. But I remember remember, Nerd was picking up a whole bunch of imports.
Right.
So
Right.
Nerd is the one who started Spider. They have their own Desert Ghost line, allegedly.
Yeah.
They have Hidden Gene Wama. They're the ones who started all these different genes. The list goes on. So you know, if you're producing all these different genes, you're gonna almost not overextend it, but you know what I mean. Like you're gonna start thinking everything's a gene now.
Right. Right.
So well, Fader was another one. You remember Fader?
So yeah, so the Fader stuff, and actually, that Pastave clown girl, when I got her from Ozzy's like, by the way, she throws some crazy Fader looking stuff, like almost every time. So so he was showing me pictures of like some of the stuff he produced from that girl, and yeah, it was pretty insane stuff from what should have been some simple clown combos. You know, like, hey, this is a Pastave clown or super pastel, you know, Mojave clown, but it's got that Fader thing going on, and it's really, I think I lost you for a second there.
I clicked it by accident. I was trying to.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there was, you know, but yeah, like Kevin really hyped up the Fader stuff though. That's still on MorphMarket though, like that, and
yeah, even Bald. Remember, he had a gene called Bald.
Okay.
I think from what I remember,
that might be. I'm trying to think here. There was another one that was like what the hell was that one? It was like I thought it started with an O, like O'Brien. No, not O'Brien. Odium.
Odium.
Yeah, Odium. That was the one that I was like, I saw the Odium combos. I'm like, those look pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then he was showing what like, Odium looked like by itself, and I'm like, that doesn't look that cool.
Yeah, that looks original.
Yeah. So, but then there's some other stuff that's just getting crazy now too. Like over in Europe, man, they just got so much crazy stuff over there.
Yeah. Even I was talking to a friend of Billy's, and he said they got a gene in Europe that looks pretty much like a Wookiee.
Okay.
Because I know Europe, it brings in a lot of imports. I think, I don't want to say still, but I know they deal with a lot of imports. So they're probably more inclined into hitting a new combo than we are. Or not we, but America. Because I know they got a whole bunch of stuff up there. Or, you know, copper. Yeah, that's another one. That's a good one.
Yeah, and he was asking too, other than the line down the middle side, what does it do? I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea. I haven't seen the Odium stuff in so long now because I've really it's kind of been off my radar.
Yeah.
There was a lot. So like I said, there was a lot of stuff. There's the one thing that that I remember seeing that Kevin had, and I don't think he ever like technically revealed what it was, and that was that magpie ball python.
Magpie?
It was a they called it a magpie. Let me see if I can find it. I can share it then 1 second.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can pull it up because he I thought Raffy had gotten it. So
no, I'm not too familiar with that one.
Magpie. It wasn't like a piebald or anything, but it was pretty interesting looking.
Yeah. Yeah, so in terms of the traits Kevin found was hypo, caramel, spider, calico, bald, wama, and then I guess jungle wama, and then hidden gene wama, and then pastel, and then coffee, and then
okay.
To me, Odin is crazy.
1 second here, Jaffy.
Yeah.
Sorry, my wife was asking me something here. 1 second here. So now I'm looking at when I go into Magpie, I'm just finding blood python stuff.
Yeah,
it was like a ball. It was a ball python though.
Yeah.
He is nerd. Maybe I think this might have been it actually. So I'm gonna pull this up real quick. So I'm thinking it had something else in it. So I'm gonna stick. So see this right here.
Oh.
And I don't think he like, but it was like spider, but it was like some other stuff though. But that was it.
spider.
That was the magpie.
Yeah,
then
which
maybe,
makes sense. It definitely looks like the magpie blood python.
Yeah, so and then this right here is kind of a better picture of it, but
That
it had
almost
that
looks like
funkiness going up.
that almost looks like a super jungle Walma spider pastel.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely funky looking. I remember seeing that in one of Raffy's. If you go back and if he does still have the stuff on YouTube,
No.
it looked pretty crazy though for sure.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I remember he used to pump those videos. Did Raffy work for Nerd, or how did that work out?
I'm not sure really. I know he was doing like I think he was doing like just did a lot of video stuff.
Okay.
And then I don't quote me on this, but it seemed like for some reason or another they must have either had like fallen out or whatever. And
From what
said I could be totally wrong because all of a sudden all the videos were just gone. They weren't even on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think they're there again now. But and then obviously he's done a few things with Justin here and there. Raffy's gone down to Justin's facility and done some stuff, but it used to be MA Balls.
I remember that. That's what I remember. Yeah.
What that was Raffy's thing, and he had some decent stuff too, and worked closely with Kevin and stuff. But then I don't think he's been in the ball python stuff at all for however long now.
Yeah, I don't think I used to see him on Facebook. I don't know if I still have him on Facebook, but from what I remember, I did. But I seen him post and then disappeared. So maybe he's still, I don't know what's happening there, but he was a cool guy though. Another video favorite of mine is Ralph Davis. I used to be addicted to those.
Yeah, so Ralph Davis had a snake that he kind of revealed too, and I don't think they ever technically got the official. Well, the flatliner or flatline.
Yeah,
remember that flatline ball
yeah.
python?
You remember he did a whole video of him walking, or he did something with music blasting, and then he opened up the tub, and then he showed it, and then the video ended.
Yeah. Yep.
He was a genius. He was the original of a YouTube game. He was playing the game easy.
Yeah, no, he had some really awesome stuff. I remember watching his videos and just being like, "Wow, this stuff is just so cool." And blackheads, I remember like when he started like kind of showing the blackhead stuff, what some of that blackhead combos can do. Like he was big into that.
He was the founder of the blackhead.
Yeah, he had some pretty, and then obviously the dreamsicle stuff, and then so like when I first got into it, dreamsicles from like Ralph and then Justin, they were really the ones that were really huge into dreamsicles initially.
Yeah.
And
they were like 10K when I was in it.
Yeah. So, so I was going to ask, as far as like the hobby, a lot of people in the States are, the hobby going in ups and downs. Obviously, the whole thing with us and our recession and everything, people are worried about the state of the hobby, stuff's not selling and everything. Are you seeing anything like in Canada with like kind of reflecting the same kind of thing, or is it pretty?
Yeah, like in general, or you mean hobby wise?
Hobby wise, I guess, and in general, I guess, but we'll start with the hobby, I guess.
Okay, so for hobby, our hobby here isn't as strong as it is in America.
Just in general, you're saying, or
general. So, like for example, high ticket value animals, you wouldn't necessarily. You would, but you would more. It's more entitled to be. I mean, more inclined to be sold in America, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Versus here, like for example, here you would probably sell, 1,000, 1,500. I'm not saying nobody here buys anything bigger than that, but in America is where you would get that kind of clientele or just customer.
Right.
So as a whole, the hobby here is to me, I find it a little bit slower. Like for example, Billy sells a lot to America.
Sure.
So that already tells you a lot.
Gotcha.
And then I think the fact that is because people automatically assume, because it's Canada to America, that means it's going to be $200 shipping, and I don't want to pay extra $200. So already by that, you're being affected in the sense of that customer coming to you.
Right.
But as a whole, like in general, the world, of course, is under or just North America is under a recession.
Right.
Things are going up. Gas and all that stuff is going up. So obviously people don't have that extra money. You guys had that stimulus. We also had in Canada It was called a Serb check.
Okay.
It's same purpose, it was for us. It was like 2,000 a month. So
Okay.
of course things were selling, but I think in America's where you guys had everybody going crazy. I heard
Yeah.
in America things were selling like within 2 days. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, well, so then the thing was is like people weren't work a lot of people weren't working and stuff.
Of
Like
course.
once most people were able to go back to work from the whole COVID stuff, um, people were able to go back to work, but a lot of people didn't go back to work, and they were just trying to collect that check or whatever from the government. So as far as the stimuluses went, it was kind of like random. It was like all of a sudden, oh, everybody's gonna get a stimulus in July or June or whatever it was. And
Mhm.
then we didn't really see a stimulus again until they approved another one for like, a few months later. Then all of a sudden, but it was like a lot. So you got like, depending on how big your family was, you got like 1,500 per kid, plus like,
Oh,
1,000 for an extra 1,000 for yourself or 2,000 for yourself. So I mean, there was some families that were pulling in like $8,000 to $10,000
oh my God.
in stimulus for, it's supposed to technically be for each person in your household, you
Yeah,
know, but then it's like, okay, hey, we're gonna go do this or we're gonna buy this or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I heard, but at that time things were selling like crazy. Even the big ticket stuff, like even those kind of things were selling. But I definitely think. What do you think about the market now?
I think that it's funny because I've sold a few things. There's stuff that I have sitting on MorphMarket that I've gotten inquiries on, and they've been on there now for like 2 or 3 months, and they haven't sold,
Yeah,
and they're not like high end stuff.
yeah,
So I don't know. It's like if I were to put some high end stuff on there, I guess I'd have a better idea of like if how it looks. But for me, for most part, I usually sell my lower end stuff at the shows, like the local
yeah,
shows.
yeah,
Um, so I don't know. I've talked to some people who are like, man, I haven't sold anything now in like 3-4 months. I guess on MorphMarket, I haven't really sold anything in a while, um, but I also haven't. I probably have to update it too. Now I have some more stuff I should have probably added.
yeah.
So
I got a bunch of stuff I gotta put up on Morph. Not a crazy amount. Like I only got, I think it's like what is it, like 17 babies I'm putting up on, or not even. Yeah, something about 17 babies and a lot of hurricane combo het clowns. I got what's going on, and I got a couple stuff that I'm gonna be putting on. So I just been kind of like procrastinating on that, and yeah, well, I can actually show some stuff off here. Hold on,
oh sure, yeah, let's do that.
I can show off some stuff. Well, let me go to. So I did a hurricane het clown. Let me see where I can put this computer. I guess I can show it from my laptop like this. So
All right.
let me just try to figure this out.
Elite says I got a friend with 12 kids. He must have got bank. Yeah, no kidding.
You see it?
Yeah.
So I'll show you. I'll show you the whole back of the clutch. So this girl right here
Oh dang.
is Hurricane Batman.
Hurricane Batman.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
yeah. Can you see it, or it's kind of dark?
It froze for a second there, but yeah, that looks awesome.
Yeah,
God, man, yeah. So it takes that patterning and really just like amplifies the patterning because it like just throws a whole bunch of other stuff in there.
yeah. Like there's a lot of swirls, like you know. So this is technically the whole back, but
Right.
how it is. If someone offers like a crazy whole back price, I might let her go, but I think for the most part I'll keep her for now.
Kind of looks like a cheetah pattern. Like
Yeah,
technically leopards and cheetahs kind of look similar in like as far as cats go, but like it's kind
yeah,
of got like a really busy like cheetah type patterning.
yeah. No, she's cool. Plus she eats like crazy, so you can't go wrong with a female like that. And I also hatched out some confusion stuff. Sadly, I did a Fire Batman to a pastel confusion het clown, and I didn't hit any clowns, which was kind of weird from 5 eggs, but I think I just missed the odds.
Okay.
So what I believe to be a pastel fire confusion, I think leopard or spot nose het clown.
Okay.
So this is a cool male.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Confusion's another genus. Got some really awesome stuff in there.
Yeah, I repeated the pairing, so I'm hoping I can hit a clown this time around. I was hoping to hit a fire confusion Batman. I would have been a cool holdback. And then I got this boy right here. This is probably the craziest head stamp I've seen. So this is, I believe, to be a pastel confusion spot nose het clown male. And look at that head. Hold on, let me open them up.
They got to be stubborn, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's really awesome looking.
Yeah, let me get him to show you his head. He doesn't want to cooperate. Oh, you want to show him? He's like, and this one I wasn't 100% sure on. She's going on MorphMarket. I think she's a hurricane, fire, leopard, spot nose, het clown female.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see where it'd probably be like leopard. Right. Man, the thing is like those combo or those that combo of genes, like they do a lot of the similar stuff, but they just add them all together and they just kind of stack on top of each other and look awesome, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why with her I wasn't 100% sure, but I think she is. I had Justin say she was, but I wanted to just ask him again just to confirm 100%.
Right.
But she's for sure fire, leopard, spot nose, het clown, female.
Okay.
And then I can show you some crazy males. So here we got, what's going on, Gershon?
Got podcast royalty in here with Gershon, you know.
Yeah, that's another one I've been watching from back in the day too.
Yeah, we man, we had this awesome conversation at Tinley that didn't even do the same. It was just about Marvel and stuff. We were talking about like superhero stuff, you know, and all that. So
here we got a fire, hurricane, spot nose, het clown male.
Nice.
For sure, this is hurricane, spot nose, fire all day long. You can see that head stamp.
Yeah, I see the head. This looks.
The head is crazy.
God, that's got like a little, like almost like it looks like a little guy in there,
yeah.
and like the head.
It's crazy. Honestly, that hurricane clutch was I only hit 3 clowns, but it was a banger clutch in my opinion.
Right.
This one is a leopard, hurricane, fire, het clown male.
Damn.
The pattern on this one is crazy.
Yeah, I'd say he hit some pretty damn good odds, even without hitting on all, you know, on a lot of clowns. You still got some.
I didn't get a lot of females, but I did get some banger females. I actually ended up hitting a fire, hurricane, spot nose clown female, but I sent it to the States. Someone.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, someone picked it up from the States. So that's a crazy one, and then I can show you the 1.1, same thing, but I'll just show you the male. So this is all it is a leopard, hurricane, het clown.
Just a leopard hurricane?
Het clown.
And being het clown?
And a 1.1.
Okay.
These guys are crazy looking.
Yeah, that adds a lot to it.
Even the head is insane. I have a 1.1 of them. They will be going up on MorphMarket. Let me show you the head. Oh.
Okay.
It looks like an Angolan python.
Yeah, it kind of does that little wrap with the...
Yeah, wrap. You see that?
Yep.
Yeah. This is a badass combo. They're going to be going up on MorphMarket, so they eat like...
You guys hear that? He'll be putting that stuff up on MorphMarket. Elite Exotics also mentioned that too. He's in a they updated MorphMarket, added some stuff today as well, so check them out as well. Always if I can plug you guys, I definitely will plug you guys as far as you know, getting you guys to check it out. Obviously, go to MorphMarket. You can type in, you go to the stores and you can type in the person's specific name on there. Otherwise, I know too, like I have your link on there, Jaffy, down in the section below, so people can just check your stuff out.
Yeah. And then this girl right here is just a plain hurricane het clown, but you can see the quality in this girl.
Sure.
This is a real nice example of a hurricane. Sometimes you get hurricanes that look almost normal.
Right.
But this goes like, look at that white edging on the side.
Yep.
Real bright, because the camera's kind of darkening it up.
Right.
Real nice and bright.
Okay. Yeah, the hurricane is definitely on my radar for sure.
Yeah. Hit me up. You're looking for something.
Will do, man.
Yeah, and then this one, our last one I'll show you, is he didn't really do good at first, but now he's smashing food. This is what I believe to be a fire hurricane clown.
Okay.
It could just be a hurricane, or sorry, a fire clown, but I asked Justin again. That's why I wasn't too sure if it's 100%, but he confirmed to me that it's a fire hurricane clown, but I gotta ask him again.
Sure.
This guy wasn't doing good at first. I had to assist feed him. He didn't even shut out, and then finally he started eating himself, and then he shut out finally. So now he looks real nice. But I won't be showing him anytime soon. I just want to make sure he's good and then post him up. But
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess some awesome stuff there for sure.
Appreciate it.
That definitely based on just the regular fire clowns I've seen, that definitely what I'd probably lean more towards that hurricane as well, as far as it having that. It seems like it's kind of a busier stuff going on, you know?
Yeah. And this was a boy I produced earlier on in the season.
Okay.
So
nice.
It's the Fire City Batman.
Fire City Batman, damn.
And he's already on MorphMarket too. In person, He looks almost exotic. Let's get the light out there.
Yeah, it doesn't say that. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, that's nice.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yep. Yeah. It definitely blows my last clutch out of the water, Jaffy. But you also didn't have this mishap with putting the wrong male or having the wrong male breed your female.
Yeah, I feel like that one was just a complete fluke kind of situation.
So yeah, I'm still kicking myself. I was beating myself up over it. I was just like, I was trying to think, I'm like, how did this happen? I'm like going through all the stuff like possibly could have happened, and I'm like, oh shit, that's right. Then I remembered when I had them all in tubs together, and I was like, that he had to have locked up with her in there because, and then me not noticing it. Thing is, I might have even looked at him while he was doing it because there was a couple other girls in there and stuff. They were just kind of all around each other. So I would just double check that, I had my room was sitting at like 80 degrees. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you keep your ambient, your hotspot?
So my hotspot, I typically am like around like the 89 to 90 ish.
Okay.
It's like somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Usually I guess it sometimes dips into the 88 range or whatever.
Yeah.
And then my room in general is usually somewhere between like anywhere from like 77 to 80.
Okay.
Usually sometimes all of a sudden, like depending, I have like a patio door that's right here on the other side of my desk here. And if it gets to be like really sunny and stuff, it'll like beam in here. And I had this oil filled radiant heater.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved away from space heaters ever since I had this really shitty mishap like a year before I got out of everything. The space heater like overheated and like the whole room just got really freaking hot. And then with that combined with my hotspot temps, it like some of the snakes didn't make it.
Oh shit! Sorry to hear.
So I moved away from the whole space heater thing. And then
is the space? What is a space heater? That's the oil one.
So space heater is like more like just straight up electric. It has like stuff in there.
Oh yeah. I don't like those.
Yeah, so the radiant one is kind of like, it has like these like fins kind of. Like 5 or 6 fins or whatever. And then and if you move it a certain way, you can actually hear the oil moving inside of it.
Yep. That's the one. I like those ones. The one I had before, I remember something happened and my room went up to like 92.
Yeah, that's what happened. Mine like cranked way up.
And it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, the original Dreamsicle I had actually died during that whole thing. I died like right in front of me because it was still technically alive, but it just ended up. I was like devastated because I had just gotten her like maybe a week or two prior to that.
Oh, shit.
So it really, really sucked. But ever since then, I moved away from like the regular space heaters, and that was Thanksgiving here, right here. Remember that Thanksgiving? I was really freaking distraught, and that I think kind of helped lead to my whole, I don't want to say mental breakdown, but just in general, like having a lot of shit happen to me and everything. It kind of, just really, it just took a really big toll on me. And then all the other personal stuff I had going on in my life, and then it's snowballed kind of, but, like he's saying here, had an oil field fail and oil went everywhere, just leaked out. Holy crap. So that I never had haven't had that happen.
I had that, yeah.
I did have so I have one of those Herpstat HPs, it's called. So it's like
The oil.
basically, yeah, it's supposed to be for mainly like your room temperature stuff.
Yeah.
And this oil filled radiant heater I have now,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden I came in and the room was like 70 degrees. I'm like, why the hell is it 70 in here? Your damn thing like didn't turn back on.
Mm-hmm.
So like it should have been on. It showed 100% power on my thermostat. So then I unplugged it, plugged it straight into the wall without the thermostat, and it was working just fine. And then like 2 days later, all of a sudden, it just totally died because I have it set almost perfectly with the dial because it had like a dial on it and everything.
Yeah.
And then so that started to all of a sudden just wouldn't turn on. It would turn off by itself and it would not turn back on, and it was cold. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? But I said, luckily, even when it does completely go off all the way, my room is still sitting at like 71 to 70.
Yeah.
However, I mean, I'd rather it be, in that 77 to 80 range or whatever.
Honestly, for me, heat spot for me, I've always run 80. So I use a PVC rack, right? So
Yep.
for me, there's like maybe half an inch gap between the PVC, or sorry, between the heat tape and then the bottom of the tub. So for me, if I set it to, let's say, 90, right, or 92, I'm directly on the heat tape.
Right.
So by the time it goes through to the tub and then, like has that heat, by the time the female or male is on top of that with the paper towel, the paper towel reads probably 84, 85.
Okay.
And that's what I've always done.
Sure.
So technically my heat is like 85.
Okay.
86.
Which is still pretty decent anyways, though.
Like,
I mean,
I like it lower because they do, for me, I've always noticed they did take a bit longer than 30 days.
Sure.
And then also for my ambient, I've always liked it at 74, 75.
Okay.
And then this season, I'm going to start doing 70, like 71, 72.
Okay.
And because remember, when in that tub, because it's so almost airtight, in the front of their tub is probably like 74 by nature because the heat comes from the back and it comes to the front, even though the outside temp is probably like 71, 72.
Right.
I've always found it to be a bit like 2 degrees warmer. So if my room is 78, it will be like 80 in the front.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to run it a little bit cooler this season.
Right. Right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of finishing up a few things. I know my wife actually I tried to like, see what I was doing here. I should probably getting ready to get the kids to bed and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, like just kind of a few last questions or whatever. Did you obviously up in Canada, Billy's there and all that stuff, but besides Billy, did you have any other like main influencers or mentors that you kind of like looked at when you were kind of like either getting in initially or when you got back in?
Yeah, so other than Billy, of course, I gotta mention Austin and Elias. Those are another big influences. Like I have, I owe pretty much my collection to them and my bank account. Like I always say.
Yeah.
I owe it to them because I bounce off ideas before picking up stuff. And of course, Austin showed me about the Ultramel because before I picked up the Ultramel, I never really knew about Ultramel combos because back in the day, you didn't really get to see all these different combos.
Right.
So I owe it to him. Ultramel Clown, that's my favorite project right now.
Yep.
I'm working on it right now. Ultramel Pied, I love it. So other than those three, I'd say Will is another big one I look up to in terms of combos, everything. I'm able to talk to him here and there. There's a whole bunch. I can list like pretty much endless amount of lists from Canada. And then also America is where I got a lot of inspiration from. Levance. I don't know if you were just on. I have my show on Wednesdays.
I wanted to check in with that. My daughter had me doing some stuff with her though earlier, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm like, I gotta get going. I gotta get my stuff set up with my podcast. I still had it set up from the other day where it was all on that little tray thing. That's where I did my egg cutting. Everything was still on there, my camera, my computer, and everything. I'm like, oh shoot, I have to move everything around.
Yeah. So I do a
but
show with me and Kylan over at Bomb Projects. We do that on every Wednesday.
Yep.
And today we actually had, right before I jumped off, we had Levance come in.
Oh, nice.
So we were talking to Levance for a good 45 minutes, and I had to tell him, like, hey, I got to cut it short because, I got to go and do a podcast. And so Levance is another big one. Justin, of course.
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of breeders in America. Like for me, I don't look at just one. I look at a whole bunch of people. Aussie's another huge one. Aussie's actually probably the one I really looked up to when I was first starting out in 2013.
Sure.
So that's a big one. I'm hoping to meet him one day. And it's just, endless. It goes on and on. Even, a whole bunch of people.
I think we need to start kind of doing a thing where it's like, who are your Avengers of ball python breeding?
Yeah.
That and like who are
Justin, Billy.
Yeah.
Babu. The list goes on.
Yeah, there's really, the nice thing is like there's so much, positive stuff from all those guys and a lot of like just amazing just support because I know and the thing is those guys get to be crazy busy because the more banger animals that they're creating and people are trying to contact them because obviously they have a lot of the knowledge too. So then it's like, sometimes those guys probably get thousands of messages a day, from people just, hey, what do you think this is? What do you think this is? What do you think that is? So, but it was actually funny. There's a video a while back. I had sent my Hissy Fit Reptile shirt to Miguel, and he got it and did because he would do like the mail opening and stuff, whatever. He's like, oh, Hissy Fit. He referred to me as an OG, which felt really weird. he's like Hissy Fit. He's one of the OGs, and I'm like, holy shit, am I really I never ever looked at myself as an OG because I got into it in 2009, but I didn't really do a whole lot initially. And
because you got to remember, Miguel probably was watching a whole Python videos.
Yeah, so I think because he got into it in what 2016-ish, maybe.
I don't know, 100%.
2015, 2016, maybe. I think maybe it wasn't even that long. It might not even been that.
I think it was 2017, 18 or something.
That could be. It might have been around. Yeah, I guess it probably could have been around there. I guess, but it's just insane. I was just like I said, it felt weird. Almost kind of like what you're talking about with running into people at Tinley, and they're like, "Hey, can we get a picture with you and stuff?" And it's just,
that wouldn't be a mind trip to have someone like that be like, "Oh, that's the old." Just like, what? What are you talking about? Little old me,
right?
Do you remember my old channel or no?
I used
to Reptile Boy 91.
Reptile Boy 91. Oh god, that sounds familiar. If I go back to my videos, you probably still comments and stuff on there.
I changed it to because I did a comedy kind of thing, so I changed it to It's Me, Jaffy Bear.
Okay.
Yeah. When I did my Reptile Boy, I never showed my face, so it just based off the voice. But I 100% remember you. I remember I used to watch your videos, and maybe could have watched mine, or maybe you at least knew me from the comment section.
More than likely, a lot of the names, if I go back and I look at the stuff, because I know, for a little while before I did the whole Hissy Reptile thing, I remember calling it the Serpent Chamber for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then at one point it was even Python Paint Shop. I don't know if you remember that. I was trying to figure out a name and I was trying to land on something, and but Tim over at the Serpent Chamber, he actually messaged me about that name, and I'm like, hey, I'm not using it, go for it, and there was a lot of, and I actually had an old YouTube channel before YouTube would let you just change the name, because they wouldn't I don't remember, a long time ago, YouTube wouldn't let you change the name of your channel. So it was just Shattered Glass DJ, because that was my DJ service. Shattered Glass DJ Entertainment. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to just have it Shattered Glass DJ as my reptile thing. So
so you changed no, from what I remember always was your name was Hissy Fit Reptiles.
Okay, so yeah, I think that might have been around I want to say probably 2011, maybe.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right? Okay.
And then we also had balls out ball pythons.
Yep.
Doug,
Yep.
his name was Doug, I think it was.
Balls out. Man.
I don't know.
He used to be on a lot of them. Yeah, there was like kind of like a group of us that all that kind of like would message each other, and then at the time too, like I was watching a lot of YouTube stuff. Like now it's just like, man, because I'm trying to like also focus on a lot of non-ball python stuff, like with doing stuff with my family, the family, and just in general. Like I got the DJ stuff going on, and I'm also working like 40 to 50 hours at my regular job as well.
Yeah,
it's just like so hard for me to catch videos. Like
for sure,
I can't even tell you the last time I saw a video from Justin, and it's like I want to. It's just like I'll sit down to like watch some videos, and then it's like, oh, okay, I guess we're watching a movie instead, or I guess we're gonna catch up on a TV show too. And then next thing I know, I haven't watched them. A lot of times when I get in on like the live streams, like a lot of times it's either background noise for me, and I'm listening to it, but I'm not able to like really interact a lot with the comments.
Yeah.
Unless if I schedule something obviously with you guys or whatever, I know, okay. But like if I don't have it scheduled, I'm usually also doing something else, or if I'm driving. But there's also a lot of times where I'll tap in, like I'll be on listening, and then all of a sudden next thing I'm like, oh shoot, I guess we're gonna go do this instead. And now I'm we're putting the kids to bed, or we're watching something with the kids, or going outside, and then it ends up being where I end up having to either listen to the podcast later on, or sometimes I'll miss it altogether, and it's like, damn it all.
No, it's life,
Yeah, no, it's always nice, obviously hearing, and that's why I think I cherish the whole reptile show aspect of it. So I know it's just like there's nothing else but like that time set aside for interacting with people, checking out the animals.
Sure.
Like for me, Tinley is like it's a vacation for me, because I'm not vending. I'm just going there. I'm enjoying myself. I do the video thing kind of here, too, but a lot of it's just kind of like I said, just kind of like a getaway, or
No, it's definitely, Tinley's definitely one of my like favorite experiences. I wish it was a little longer, but
yeah. Well, and you go again, make sure like I said, I'll be at both the March and October. We'll have to get together at some point and stuff, maybe even catch a drink or something like that,
For sure. Yeah, no, I'm down.
So, and for all you guys watching and stuff, if you're watching it live or you're watching it later on, Jaffy's info is below, so feel free to check him out on YouTube, Instagram, show him some love, start following him, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And then MorphMarket.
Yeah, I'm super close to 1,000. Well, not super close, but I'm close to 1,000 subscribers. I'm like 8. Last time I checked, I'm like 820. So I'm hoping to hit 1,000 before the end of the year.
Yeah, I think I got you kind of up on here. So we're looking at YouTube here. You got 820 on YouTube.
Yep.
And you got some. So even like the stuff that's not like your specific stuff, there's like a lot of cool people you've gone and showcase some of their stuff too. So you get to see some awesome stuff. So if you guys are willing to want to check it out and stuff, there's like world's first monsoon combo of this. Shows some really cool stuff. So you got all that awesome stuff. And then I don't know about you, but for me, like it's just so much easier to throw stuff on Instagram. You just throw a picture on there or whatever. But you got
No, I barely even use Instagram. Like I remember someone hitting me up saying like, because I wasn't on my Instagram, like, oh, help me out, I'm close to 1,000 followers. And someone hit me up saying like, I'm even surprised you're close to 1,000 followers, because like, I barely even post. So I'm like,
yeah. I'll go like I know like a lot of people say you should probably post on Instagram like once or twice a day. And then then keep up with like the reels and stuff, or whatever they're called now. I slack. I'll be, oh yeah, here's a good picture, I'll throw this on there. And then I'll like totally space. I'll be down in the snake room and I'll forget to take a picture, and I'll be upstairs. And I'm like, well, I'm not really going back down there now, so I'll wait till tomorrow, and then I'll forget again.
Yeah, no, I'm the exact. For me, it's not even that I forget. I just like, meh, like I don't even want to do it. Like for me, it's like I mainly show off everything on my YouTube. So I find it's like, instead of you looking on my Instagram, you can watch an actual video of it on my YouTube. That's the way I look at it, because like, for example, when I first got that Ultima Clown, I posted him up, just to show people what it can do and what it looks like and stuff, and just to, in a way, show them that I'm also working into the project. Other than that, I'm like, man, I don't want to post anything from there.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, everybody definitely check out Jaffy on social media and all that kind of good stuff. MorphMarket, of course, like you said, you're going to be updating your MorphMarket and everything. So he'll have stuff on there, some really awesome combos that he was showing off. So if you want to hold tight, I'm just going to do like a real quick, like a little outro thing. And then, but thanks again, Jaffy, for coming on and, shooting the shit with us and then going over some stuff. It was a lot of fun. So
yeah, I appreciate you having me.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks again, Jaffy. All right, I know I might just cut him off. So yeah, so I'm gonna just touch base with Jaffy right after this, but I just want to give you guys a quick heads up on that. Again, all of his info below. If you're interested in the Hissy Fit Blend coffee stuff, like I said, I kind of showcased that a little bit earlier. They're not really like a sponsor or anything, but because they have the Hissy Fit branded stuff, just wanted to kind of shoot that out there. Again, being an affiliate with them and everything. If you go to Cold Blooded Caffeine, and you do an order, and you put in promo code HissyFit, you'll get 10% off. So, but yeah, definitely, he's kind of looking here. Gershon, we're gonna have to get together, by the way, and do like a podcast collaboration, or just maybe I'll have to like have you on mine, or if you want to have me on yours, feel free. Let's reach out to each other and get her done, because that'd be awesome. But yeah, appreciate you guys all joining. We talked about some pretty interesting topics and stuff like that, talking about some of the stuff that he's working with, and he got to show off some of his awesome stuff that he produced with that hurricane stuff. Is just awesome. So but yep. And Will's hella, he's just getting himself some coffee. I got that getting sent over to him. Some of that good old Hissy Fit Reptiles Hissy Fit blend. So I think his was the whole bean, so you can do ground or whole bean. So but until next time, I'm not sure. I haven't really figured out if I'm gonna do another podcast before the end of the year or not. So if you guys want to follow me on that, or just hit your notification bells and all that kind of stuff, I'll definitely have something going on, and if I do, I'll post a little preview thing or whatever, shoot a little graphic at you guys. But I am going to be doing a collection update, so be sure to check that out. And I'm going to show you guys how I fucked up my clutch, that my most anticipated clutch of the season, how I screwed that up. So I'll be showcasing that in the next video as well when I do my regular YouTube update. If you didn't hear what happened, I'll go over it in my thing, but I basically fucked up. My fault. On my most anticipated clutch of the year, so that really sucks ass, but it is what it is. I'll definitely share my experience with you guys and show you guys what ended up happening. And yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you tapping in. Now, until next time, these have been Reptiles Remixed with your host DJ Knack. Thanks again to Jaffy Exotics. You guys have a good night. We'll talk to you again soon.